Okay. So, sige. Si Ma'am Collis. Good afternoon, class, and then good afternoon, Professor Ke. So, for today, we invited one expert on ICT and curriculum studies. Okay? So, mentee of Dr. Manzano. So, let me introduce our speaker. So, Professor Ke, Professor Elinita Ke. Okay, we call her Ma'am Leny. Okay, so is an assistant professor and currently the program coordinator of the educational technology area of the UP College of Education. She is the chair of the training working group of the UNESCO Bangkok Resource Distribution and Training Centers and acting executive director of Comparative Education Society of the Philippines. She is a digital literacy fellow of Queensland University of Technology in Brisbane, Australia, and former program development associate for blended learning of the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She is a two-time awardee of the Wad Colegio on ICT Integration Award, Outstanding Teaching Performance, last 2011 and 2014, given by the UP College of Education. She has a collaborative research on ICT in education with the Kyoto and Hiroshima University, um, University of Education, United Graduate School of Professional Teacher Education, and Hiroshima University Center for the Study of International Cooperation in Education. So she finished her Master of Education major in Educational Technology uh, degree at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and completed her Bachelor of Science in Development Communication at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. So she is a doctoral candidate for the PhD in PhD in Education major in Curriculum Studies at the UP College of Education. She is also at present pursuing her doctoral program under the Division of Educational Development and Cultural and Regional Studies at Hiroshima University. Okay, so let us welcome Professor Leny. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Ma'am, your
Start na ba
turn.
ako? Okay, sige.
Yes
Thank you
po.
so much. Oh, sige. So I'll be with you lang I was still for 30 minutes. So I would like us to have a really very, very fruitful session today. So I'll be sharing with you as your professor, as Dr. Arlyne has requested me to share with you uh, um, as these topics on curriculum evaluation and remote learning. Remote learning kasi edtech na ako and at the same time, meron din akong background on curriculum studies. So it's really uh, very interesting. Thank you, Dr. Arlyne, for
Yes,
inviting
ma'am.
me, and I hope I'll be able to, to share. So let's make this session an informal one. Kwentuhan tayo, di ba? Yung ganun tayo.
Yes
So
po.
oo, di ba? So is this class a doctoral program class or a master's program class or ano? So,
Ano ma'am, PhD program class, ang specialization nila po ay curriculum and instruction. And the course that
oh,
they are taking now is curriculum evaluation.
ayun. So, dito rin nagsalita si Dr. Manzano. Dito rin
Yes
with
po.
this group. Oo, sige, yan. So, si Dr. Manzano, may, mentor ko at mentor din ni Dr. Arlyne. And it's really very, worthwhile to be, to be part of the circle of Dr. Manzano, of course, Dr. Arlyne. We've been together for in so many projects. So, in both siguro may mga, 'di ba, mga projects and personal and professional na undertakings. But anyway, so today let me share with you, siguro palagay ko alam niyo na yung mga curriculum evaluation model, what is curriculum, 'di ba? Parang ganun. So ang magiging focus ko ngayon is yung given this remote learning environment that we have now, paano ngayon papasok, di ba, yung pag-evaluate ng curriculum? Okay, so yun. So let me share my screen. I hope this works kasi normally, select a screen window.
Yes, ma'am.
Ayan, okay. So, yan. So, meron akong PowerPoint na ginawa and I hope makita niyo siya ngayon. Ayan, I'm sharing now. So, sana lumabas siya. Are you seeing it? No, it's not.
Yes
Ayan.
po.
Yes,
Ayan,
po.
nakita na. Ayun,
Clear po.
salamat.
Yes
Kasi
po.
meron time kasi, na, ito, gumamit din ako ng, sorry, from the start. Dapat pala sorry. Ayan. Bumibigay na rin ng aking, sobrang, ayan. So anyway, be patient with me. Ayusin ko lang siya. Mukhang nagka-problema. Okay. Ayan, sige. See, it says, nagka-problem siya sa pag-share. But anyway, stop ko muna yung presenting ko. So, to start, habang inaayos ko siya,
Sige.
so yun. So, ayan. Dami niya ino-open niya. Sige, nakakaloka tong ating na to. But anyway, sige, start ko ulit siyang i-share. So, okay, so nakikita niyo na siya? Hindi pa rin.
Yes po, Doc, nakikita.
Ayan. So, ayan
Yes,
siya. Ayan.
Yes,
So,
po.
yun. Ginawa kong yung title ng presentation niya. Pero hindi siya presentation, Ayan, okay na siya? Can you see it? Can you see it finally?
Yes po. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so,
Yes, ma'am.
so yung title ko ng presentation niya is like, it's evaluating remote learning. So siguro for, for some refresher, di ba? Sabi niya, ang curriculum evaluation is both a process and a tool. Process siya kasi it utilizes existing models and frameworks, di ba? And some procedures for you to achieve your desired result or desired outcome. It's a tool also because it helps the teachers determine kung what needs to be improved, not what needs to be modified, what needs to be rejected dun sa curriculum natin. Kasi di ba ang curriculum, it involves learning experiences, learning resources, diba? A learning environment that we provide with our students. Oh, and then yung process and tool na yan, ang end result yan, and what we really hope for is an improved curriculum. So that's why we're undertaking curriculum evaluation. So ito ngayon, I provided here like a summary of why are we undertaking curriculum evaluation. First is for us to determine or identify the strengths and weaknesses of an existing curriculum, and then try to find out whether the design curriculum that we have now or the curriculum we are implementing is producing the desired result. So we usually consider this as formative evaluation because at the course of the implementation of curriculum, we keep on evaluating, di ba? So yung the entire curriculum or even the strategies or the resources or the experiences that we are providing at the time that we are implementing the curriculum. And then we also conduct curriculum evaluation because we would like to see whether what we're doing now is equal or exceeded the existing standards. So we have a set of standards. So yung bang ginagawa natin yun within the standards or equal or exceeding the existing standards. And then the last one is because of curriculum evaluation, the results provide information necessary for us teachers, the school administrators, and the curriculum specialists. It provides information or inputs for policy recommendations with the end in view of enhancing the achieved learning outcomes, okay, or our intended curriculum. Okay, so here, so let's review some of the definition. from our curricularists. So I just chose three. I think these are the kind of more popular or familiar with us. So for Ornstein and Hankins, it's for them curriculum evaluation is a process done to gather data that will serve as inputs uh, in our decisions whether we accept, change, eliminate the curriculum in general or a textbook in particular. Because sometimes we implement curriculum, may mga ganong schools kasi they implement the curriculum based on the textbook. Diba kasi sabi nga ang curriculum daw is a set of activities or learning experiences that we provide our students. So normally, they have an existing curriculum designed by the entire school based on the needs or the visions, the mission, the goals, the philosophies of the school. But there's sometimes, but of course, sometimes the sequence, the scope and sequence of the curriculum, sometimes they base it on the textbook textbooks that are the school is using. Okay, so sabi ni Ornstein and Hankins, process to gather data that will provide us with an informed decision about our curriculum. Okay, and then to naman si Tyler. Tyler is one of my favorite curricularists kasi napakasimple lang ng kanyang model. Di ba ang meron siyang apat na questions about the intent, the content, the approach, and the evaluation. Kasi sabi niya, yun yung apat na components of curriculum. We have the intent, what would you like to achieve, intent, based on your intent or your purposes or vision, and then the approach you're going to use to implement the curriculum and evaluation. Ang tawag dito sa model nito, objective model, because Tyler usually based the evaluation of the curriculum on the objectives. Okay, so it's an objective approach to educational evaluation. So based on the objectives, titignan natin how consistent yung ating mga learning experiences and the outcomes that we are producing with the objectives or the goals or the aims that we have identified. Okay, so it's an objective model. Objective siya in such a way that we base the evaluation on the objectives, okay? What we intend to achieve. Okay, and then the third one, okay, this one. So, like you saw, sa 1988, it was what's this, espoused, and then it's a process of delineating, obtaining, and providing useful information for judging alternatives and of course for the purpose again of modifying or rejecting the curriculum. So parang if we summarize all these three models, makita natin na ang curriculum evaluation provide us with information or inputs that will help us decide whether we're going to modify or reject the curriculum. Why am I showing this to you? Because with the remote learning approach or the remote learning environment that we have now, there's a need really to evaluate the curriculum. Kasi nga, di ba parang nung magkaroon ng COVID, lahat tayo caught unaware, di ba? All of us are not prepared. So yung nga, di ba, nag-scramble talaga ang DepEd. Kasi ako naging part din ako ng ilang mga activities nila lalo na dun sa pag-create ng mga broadcast based na mga curriculum nila or learning experiences kasi nga nakita nila na given the COVID crisis hindi tayo pwede mag face to face, so ang talagang pwede lang mag-work is yun nga yung mga modules na printed modules na dadalhin sa mga bahay and the broadcast based na learning experiences. So kailangan nila ng radyo, kailangan nilang i-train ng mga teachers on how to write radio scripts, on how to to deliver lesson using audio media like radio. Mahirap magsulat for radio kasi walang nakikita ang mga students. So talagang kailangan vivid ang description, vivid ang pagka-deliver ng mga instruction, and I think our teachers are really not that prepared to write scripts for a radio-based instruction. The same thing with a TV-based.
Ma'am, excuse po.
Yes.
Ang
Yes,
nakikita po namin sa screen share, ayun pong title page po.
yes. Ano nakikita nyo?
Ano,
Title po na Evaluating
first
Remote.
slide po.
First slide, hindi siya nag-work. This time, makikita nyo itong ganito.
Yan po, Doc. Yan po, ma'am. Opo.
Ganito, pero pag ginawa ko siyang, sorry, I think
Pag slideshow, ma'am. Pag slideshow.
nawawala siya. So, okay lang ba sa inyo
Sige
na
po,
ito na
opo.
lang?
Okay
Teka,
po.
lalakihan ko na lang siya. Aasin ko na lang tong. Sige, I
Sige.
think, ayan. Okay, sige. So, ito yung mini-mention ko kanina. Kung dami ko nang nasabi eh.
Sige po, ma'am.
Ang dami ko nang nasabi. Anyway, so ito yun. So, let me repeat. Okay. So, ito lang. Pinapakita ko lang dito na ito yung mga reasons why we are evaluating curriculum. First, we have to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the existing curriculum. And then try to find out whether the design curriculum is achieving for us the desired results. So ito important dito yung formative evaluation. Okay? We evaluate because we would like to find out whether the way we are delivering the curriculum or implementing the curriculum has equaled or exceeded the existing standards. And the curriculum evaluation results provide us with information necessary for us teachers, school administrators, curriculum specialists for policy recommendations that they will come up later on with the ending view of enhancing achieved learning outcomes. So as I said here, I have here some curricularist definition. First, yung nga kay Arnstein, siguro na-encounter nyo na yon. So sabi niya, ang evaluation is a process of gathering data. And then this data serves as inputs in deciding whether they will accept, they will change, they will modify, eliminate the curriculum in general or a textbook in particular. But kasi there are some schools, as I mentioned earlier, na they really base their curriculum on, or the scope and the sequence of the curriculum based on the textbook that their school is using, di ba? So yun, so kay Ornstein yan. Then kay Tyler, then sabi ko nga, Tyler is one of my favorite curricularists kasi napaka-basic, napaka-simple lang nung kanyang model. So yung kanyang model, merong dun lumabas yung 4 na components, di ba? Yung intent, content, approach, and evaluation. So yung Tyler's model ng curriculum evaluation niya na pag mag-evaluate ka ng ng curriculum, the evaluation must be based on the objectives that have been set. Okay? So yon, so kaya siya tinawag na objective model kasi ine-emphasize niya yung consistency ng objectives with a consistency actually ng mga learning experiences, ng outcomes doon sa objectives. Okay, and then ito yung pangatlo na kayo ka-Eliva na it is a process of delineating. Sabi niya it is a curriculum evaluation is a process of delineating, obtaining, and providing useful information to serve as judging alternatives for the purpose of modifying or rejecting the curriculum. As you can see, it's really very important that when you are implementing curriculum, kailangan talaga i-evaluate mo siya whether formative or summative. Okay? So, ang formative is done while you are implementing the curriculum and then yung summative, yun naman yung at the end of the of a year. Katulad namin kasi yung curriculum namin sa educational technology, it was revised in 2012. So dapat after 5 years, 3 to 5 years, kailangan daw i-evaluate ko siya. So that's why I think given the evolving learning environment and the remote learning environment that we have now, I think yung aming educational technology program needs to be evaluated. Titingnan namin whether the curriculum that we have set in 2012 is still serving its purpose or providing the competencies that our students must have as educational technologies or as instructional designers or media supervisors kasi yung mga competencies na gusto namin ma-develop sa kanila. Okay, so why am I sharing with you this definition of curricular? Sabi nga dito, if we look at the definitions provided by these 3 curricularists, curriculum evaluation, very important yung collection ng data, collection ng information that we can use to improve or to modify or to reject the curriculum at all. Kasi nga, kung hindi rin lang nagse-serve ng purpose yung curriculum mo, then there's something to be done, no? Kailangan talaga nating tingnan ulit, balikan natin tong curriculum. So why is it not achieving for us the desired outcomes for our school? So kung may vision kayo na ang school niyo maging premier school on, in the city of, halimbawa, Valenzuela, for example, di ba? Or yung school na that delivers, the best education. So kung may mga vision ka, pero just the same, makita mo why are we not achieving this, this vision for our school? So balikan yung curriculum nyo. So there may be some other factors, but I believe ang pinaka-core talaga for us to achieve our intended outcomes for our school, or achieve the vision or the goals of our school, yung curriculum natin, how we deliver, what is the content of our curriculum. Okay, so yan. So now, why am I sharing this with you? As while reflecting habang ginagawa ko tong lecture na to, naisip ko nga, I think there's really a need now to look into our curriculum. Kasi nga, di ba sabi ko nga, lahat tayo caught unaware nitong COVID crisis na to. Lahat ng mga teachers natin are equipped, di ba, for a face-to-face or a physical classroom. So kung meron man silang mga online activities, hindi siya kasing emphasize ngayon na bawal pa ang face-to-face interaction kasi nga mataas pa yung cases natin ng COVID. So I know yung nung time na nagkaroon ng COVID, I think many of us were involved dun sa how can we help DepEd, the Department of Education particularly, na sa ma-transition ang face-to-face interaction into an online learning or remote learning or distance learning. Kasi nga yun ang pinaka-visible and safest way of educating our children, di ba? Through distance education. Pero hindi nga tayo prepared, di ba? So, ang ginawa natin, yung mga curriculum na existing, di ba meron tayong mga curriculum guides, mga CGs ng DepEd, for example, or kahit ang CHED, meron din mga existing na curriculum na designed for a face-to-face classroom. They have to transition it, they have to modify it based on the new environment na meron tayo. So, doon nga pumasok yung how will you deliver it? Ano lang yung competencies na kayang i-develop with this, given this platform. Tapos, how much time can our students absorb all the information na binibigay natin sa kanila kasi nga ibang-iba yung environment that they are in. So yung curriculum na ang ginawa natin, 'di ba? I believe maraming schools ganun ang ginawa nila. Yung existing curriculum nila, they look at it and then try to find out paano natin 'to ma-transition into an online environment. If I have to share kasi ang Pag-asa pala meron din pala silang meron din silang college na they're equipping their weather forecasters, and hydromet specialists or scientists. So parang meron din silang college na nag-develop ng competencies to become an expert in weather forecasting. So ang naging problem nila ngayon, lahat ng learning experiences that they provide to their students ng mga instructors ng Pag-asa pang face-to-face. So you just can imagine how can you train or equip a weather forecaster na hindi nila mahawakan yung mga equipment nila. Diba? Kasi sa face-to-face, they can demonstrate it, they can hold it, diba? They can touch it, they can manipulate all this equipment. Pero with an online learning or remote learning, anong gagawin nila ngayon? So yun, diba? So parang teka, yung learning experiences na baka yung mga competencies na kailangan i-develop sa kanila as weather forecasters hindi ma-achieve, di ba? or hindi ma-develop. So anong gagawin natin given this new learning environment? What are we going to do with the curriculum that we have now? So in a way, I have helped them kung paano nila mag-chunk yung kanilang information, yung kanilang mga courses, i-chunk nila kasi sabi, it's very important na, kasi di ba sa isang remote learning environment, very important yung memory, working memory, attention span ng ating mga students. So, especially yung mga nasa basic, again, they can only observe a set of information at one time. Di ba sabi nga nila, di ba sa psychology, sabi na ang brain natin can only absorb 5 to 7 elements at one time, di ba? So, doon sa mas bata pa, sabi nila, they can absorb 4 to 5 or 4 to 6 elements at one time. So, paano mo i-deliver ngayon na itong mga lessons mo? So, dapat i-chunk mo siya doon lang sa kaya ng working memory or doon sa attention span lang na kaya ibigay sa atin ng mga students natin. So, yun. So, tinulungan ko sila doon sa methods on how they chunk their content, and then the methods or the delivery, and then later on, paano nila i-assess yung learning given this environment or given the nature or the character of their course. So, yun siya. So, talagang lahat tayo, we really have to adjust to this learning environment. And up to this time, we are still into this remote learning, di ba? I think, ko lang ang PNU, if you're also going into remote learning, I think sa susunod na SEM, remote learning pa rin ng UP kasi wala pa rin, di ba, wala pa rin vaccine, so bawal pa rin ang face-to-face interaction. So, siguro during this first SEM, parang natin yun itong nagdaan na, itong SEM na to, existing SEM na to, parang ito yung parang pilot natin, di ba? Pinilot natin yung pag-implement ng mga curriculum natin. And then based on our experiences on the delivery of our instruction, doon tayo, perhaps, or I think, we can get so many inputs, so many data that we can use when we design again our courses or our curriculum in the following SEMs. Kasi nga after yung post-COVID education natin, di ba? For sure, it will be influenced by what happened or what is happening now, di ba, with our educational landscape. So, maano yun, ma-influence siya. So, how we implement our curriculum post-COVID, during the post-COVID times or post-COVID era, ay meron siya for sure na merong influence or merong, we will be taking off from what is happening now or what would happen or what had happened pagkatapos nitong semester na to. So yun. So, so how do we evaluate remote learning? Okay, so perhaps I can share with you lang yung aming key strategies that we have been implementing. Binuo siya ng College of Education because we believe that yung sa remote learning, ito yung mga key strategies na we hope would help in the successful implementation of remote learning. So, one is prioritize teacher and student safety, health, and well-being, and then recalibrate curricular and assessment priorities. Ano ba yung dapat natin bigyan ngayon ng priority? Lahat ba to ng mga lessons? Ito, hindi ba parang it's so crazy na merong hindi ko alam kung isang congressman ba yun or isang senador na nagsabi siya na dapat or I think it's an official of the government na nagsabi na gawin nating 8 hours ang di ba? Parang yung classroom na 8 hours na andun yung mga estudyante. Tayo nga, di ba, mga adults na. Parang pag nag 1 hour na, 2 hours na sa Zoom, parang ang hirap ng di ba? Ang hirap ng mahirap na natin engage yung sarili natin. Kasi nga important yung how do we keep on task or how do we keep our students engaged. Diba? So yun. So ano lang ba yung kaya nating i-present sa kanila? So, sa mga students natin, given this environment and given the amount of time or amount of attention that they can give to us. Kasi ayaw nga natin silang mag-zone out di ba? Mawala. Yun. So, and then another strategy is to enact flexible learning options. That's why we're trying to implement or deliver the instruction in different modes, di ba? So, pwede siyang, so yun nga, flexible. So, Pwede siyang asynchronous, pwede rin siyang synchronous, so depende sa ano natin. Ang UP ngayon, meron kaming sem break, November 2 to 7. Kasi nga, ako personally, na ano ko, na nalulungkot ako sa mga students ko kasi dalawa na yung, isa nag-LOA, isa nag-drop. So, tinanong ko yung isa ko student, bakit ka mag-LOA? Tapos sabi niya sa akin na, ma'am, kasi po nag-work parehas yung parents ko. Tapos po, ako po yung inassign nila na tumulong dun sa dalawa kong kapatid dun sa mga modules nila. So, you know, tapos yung isa ko ng mga student, sabi ko sa kanya, ba't hindi ka nakasubmit ng 12 o'clock? Yun yung deadline natin. Tapos sabi niya sa akin, ma'am, kasi po hinintay ko po munang matapos yung online classes ng mga kapatid ko. Hindi ko po naihabol yung 12 o'clock na deadline natin. So yung mga ganun. So we as teachers must be, must be open to this kind of, um, situations or conditions where our students are in. So we also have to empower families for home-based learning. So marami na tayong mga naririnig ngayon ng mga parents na nahihirapan sila na to provide the education na kailangan. I think kung tayong mga teachers stressful ang environment, I believe a little bit more stressful sa ating mga parents na hindi naman sila na sila ngayon ang in charge education ng kanilang mga students. And then we have to lead for resilience and innovation. We have to keep on innovating and then redesign the learning environment. And then of course, if we have to evaluate the education financing and let's try to create new knowledge. Hindi ba sabi nga nila, pag sinabi mo blended learning, di ba dapat may face-to-face tsaka may online learning. Pero hindi nga tayo makapag face-to-face. So yung definition ng blended learning, nagiging blurry na siya, di ba? So nagkakaroon na tayo ng bagong definition para uh, sa ating pag-define ng blended learning. Kasi nga, blended pa rin siya pero sa ibang context, di ba? Sa ibang pananaw, sa ibang perspective. So ngayon, given this remote learning, and I think dapat meron tayong formative assessment, parang midterm na yata ngayon eh. And then dito nakikita na namin may mga nagda-drop. Kanina nag-meeting kami sa engineering class kasi may involvement din ako na team teaching din ako sa College of Engineering. Tapos na-mention ng isang faculty na kasama ko doon sa team na may dalawa na raw nag-drop sa kanila. Tapos siya sabi ng isa, meron tatlo, meron. So parang nakakalungkot, diba? They really have to drop. They really have to, to leave school, their college education or schooling for different reasons. All ang pinaka-bottom line ay yung because of the remote learning environment na hindi sila makakope, hindi nila mabalance yung life nila as student and as a daughter or a sister. So hindi nila mabalance kasi nga there are new responsibilities or tasks given to them na they're not really prepared to undertake at this point in time. So they have to choose my education or my home, the needs of my home. So and sadly they have to drop from the school, di ba? To meet the demands of the new environment that we have now. So yon. So how do we evaluate now? So given that curriculum or the learning experiences we are giving our students, so there are I came up with these questions, guide questions. When we start evaluating our curriculum, perhaps we evaluate within the context of the remote learning environment that we have now. So first question is, what are the most important things about your course to recreate in this format? So we have to recreate, no? We cannot implement our curriculum or our lessons as if we're implementing it in a face-to-face or in a physical classroom. So we have to recreate. That's why it's very important that we are familiar with the platforms that we are using. How can this platform be useful while I recreate my course? Siguro doon din ipapasok yung number 3 na what is the best platform on which to recreate and what are the most useful tools to use. So if most of you are teachers or administrators, I believe you have done this already. You have been recreating your curriculum, recreating your lesson, creating your course based on the format that we have now. And I believe you also have this learning management system, di ba? Yun yung parang naging classroom natin or ating extension natin as a teacher. Siya na yung pwede mag-check na attendance, pwede nang mag-accept ng mga submissions ng mga students natin, di ba? Pwedeng uh, sa ating mga discussions or research or recitations, pwedeng online di siya kasi given the discussion forum na pwede natin i-create or i-post or i-upload dun sa ating mga learning management system. So, given that tool, the learning management system, you have to recreate. Naalala ko yung nga sa pag-asa, I help them use a learning management system platform kung saan nila in-upload lahat. Ginawa nilang modular yung kanilang mga lesson. So, ang dami nila, natuwa ako, like 50 of them. So, merong pang parang isang teacher doon, nagtuturo siya ng parang, ng mga pang basic ed. Kasi yun yung yun, extension nila, yung parang ang mga tagapag-asa pala meron din sila na yung nag-extension din sila. So they go to the communities and teach them about weather. So yun din. So nag-module din sila noon. Kasi nga of course they cannot go there, but at least they have a platform wherein they can share the lessons and upload their videos and deliver their synchronous lessons. Okay? So yun. So ano yung pangalawa? I think dito papasok yung pag tinignan mo na ulit yung curriculum, yung what aspects of the learning experience, of the activities and assessments might need to change for the remote teaching format and how. Okay, so ito yung mga learning experiences na I am providing my students. So, paano ko nga yun siya i-format in such a way that I can deliver it efficiently and effectively. Siguro yung mga ginagawa natin ngayon, parang it's a trial and error, di ba? So, tingnan natin what works, what did work, di ba? Pag in-evaluate natin. Am I, given these learning objectives or the learning outcomes, na-achieve ko ba? The way I deliver my lesson or yung bang content na ina-include ko dito sa delivery ng lesson ko or instruction, develop yung mga competencies na kailangan ng mga students ko. Di ba when we look at the curriculum guide, may mga competencies tayo na dapat ma-develop. So ngayon, tayo doon, parang which among these competencies ang kaya kong ituro given this particular time. Di ba? Itong sa time frame na to. Tapos, di ba, ang tendency natin, parang gusto natin isiksik lahat yung mga lessons, di ba, yung mga topics, pero I tell you, hindi siya mag-work. Kasi our brain can only absorb so much information. Kundi, yung mga extrang hindi na kayang i-process ng brain nila, mag-disappear yun. So, pare-parehas lang tayong nawalan, the teachers and the students as well. Kasi, nag-effort tayo na teacher na i-prepare yung lesson na yon, tapos hindi naman na-deliver or hindi naman naka-process ng mga students natin at hindi nila na-stack sa kanilang mga long-term memory. So, sayang lang yung effort or preparation natin. So, better we format everything. So, ito yung mga lessons ko, ito yung mga topics ko, ito yung mga modules ko. Paano ko siya ngayon i-deliver in a remote learning environment, in a remote teaching environment. Kasi ang bottom line dito is yung bang competencies na gusto nating ma-develop, may ibibigay natin. I remember my son asking me one time, because he's taking up agricultural extension and biosystems engineering sa UP Los Baños. Tapos sabi niya sa akin one time, sabi niya, Mom, do you think that I can get the competencies that we agricultural engineers and biosystems engineers would must have given this remote teaching environment or given this teaching learning environment? Tapos sabi ko sa kanya, hindi. Sabi ko ganun sa kanya kasi lahat kami, nagta-trial and error. And we're still exploring kung paano namin ma-develop yung mga competencies na kailangan yung matutunan. So especially yung sa biosystems engineering kasi important siya, di ba? So pero ang mahalaga dito is paano mo i-develop ang iyong sarili to learn by yourself. Kasi ang mga teachers can only provide you with so much, di ba? Kasi hindi mo nga sila nakikita. And then, very stressful din ang buhay ng mga guro. Diba? Kasi pinaprepare kasi mas mahirap kaya yung ano, kaysa ano yung kasi 'pag gagawa ako ng lecture, mas hirap akong gumawa for asynchronous learning, eh. Kasi halimbawa katulad nitong PowerPoint na 'to, at least 'to I'm delivering it to you synchronously. Pero 'pag i-de-deliver ko asynchronously, mas mahirap para sa akin kasi I have to annotate. Bawat slide, I have to discuss what this slide is about. Kasi we don't just give these slides. Parang nonsense pagdating sa mga students yan. Ano ba 'tong mga keywords na 'to? Ano ba 'tong image na 'to? Ano ba 'tong picture na 'to? Hindi ko naman naintindihan. So na hindi na, dahil hindi nga siya synchronous, asynchronous siya, kailangan you have to provide all the annotations, you have to provide all the explanations. Kasi nga gusto nating matulungan ang ating mga students na ma-develop yung mga competencies na dapat nilang i-develop. Okay, I think this is my last ano kasi parang I hope ma-invite pa rin ako tin Teacher Arlyne. Ayan, ang haba yata ng sinabi ko. But anyway, this is what I would like to share. Tapos ito na yung huli. I-share ko lang sa inyo to. Naku, ang daming nabukas na. Sorry ah. Ayan, meron ako i-share sa inyo na parang, ito, sige, i-share ko to sa inyo. Ano siya, yung parang set of questions if you would like to start your evaluation of your curriculum. Meron ditong parang, stop sharing ko to. Pero I hope this one will work. Okay, let me just share it. So, dito ako mag-e-end. So, ayan. Ayan. Sige, ito. So, meron akong sets of questions dito. So, nakikita nyo ba? Nakikita nyo ba? This one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Medyo
So,
maliit lang.
maliit lang.
Maliit
So,
lang.
perhaps
Yeah.
I can make it like
Maliit.
200? Ayan, mas kita ba?
Yes po, opo.
Sige,
Yes
sige.
po.
So, ito yung the objective here is, ito yung mga pwedeng itanong sa mga students nyo. Kung gusto nyo mag-start na with your curriculum evaluation. And these are the things that you may want to include in the gathering of data. Like for students, this one. So overall, how would you rate your institution's support in the transition to remote learning this semester? Tapos, what could have been done to better support you in making this transition? Tapos i-rate dito. This is for kasi for college. Kung may internship ba siya, based on how would you rate the campus services, the quality of campus services, yung health services, mental health services, housing, career, financial, academic advising, tutoring, IT support, di ba? Meron bang pinapahiram ng mga equipment such as laptop? Meron bang technology, support sa paggamit ng technology para matapos nila yung kanilang mga klase or yung kanilang mga assignments? Meron din bang provision for disability services? I think ito talaga yung napag-iwanan. Hindi ko alam kasi minsan umattend ako ng nag-lecture ako, nag-research person ako sa isang webinar on teachers teaching children with special needs. So parang kung tayo, challenge na sa atin, teaching regular students, how much more those children with special needs. So ito rin yan. So pwede nyo rin siyang tanungin, following the outbreak of COVID, in what formats were your classes delivered? So these questions, their responses or their answers to this survey could give you enough data for you to evaluate your existing curriculum, how you implemented it, how is it achieving for you the objectives of your curriculum. Ayun siya. So, I think Dr. Arlyne, kasi we call each other Teacher Arlyne or Teacher Leny. So, perhaps I can share this with you. I can share this with the class. And then, perhaps you can go over this and then kasi ito nga maganda to yung last. Take a minute to think back to the first week of remote learning. So, compare how you feel then and now, di ba? How has your experience of learning in a remote environment changed? And I think their responses in all these questions, kasi itong survey na to covers both tool technology and the course delivery. So, these are could be helpful to you. So, if meron kayong mga tanong for students, meron ka din for faculty. Kasi important din yun. If you are in an institution and then you would like, or your school would like to evaluate what have you done so far and what have you been achieving so far, then these questions or this survey could help you in generating data for your evaluation and for the modification of your curriculum. And then para you're ready now for the next semester. Okay, I think that's all that I would like to share. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank
Oo,
you so
thanks so
much,
much. I hope, yeah,
Professor Ke.
yan,
Okay, so
salamat.
let's have a question and answer portion. So, please ask questions. Kung meron kayong questions, comments. Okay? So, meron pa tayong 15 minutes for Q&A natin. Sige.
Yan. O kaya kung ano, pwede nyo rin naman siyang i-type dito, titignan ko siya sa, I
Yes,
think,
yes.
already.
Oo,
O,
pwede rin
para,
po.
mag-encode kayo, tapos kung ano, I'll try to, to
Kung medyo
answer.
mahina po yung inyong
Oo,
data,
yes, right. So you can
yung
just
connection.
encode your questions. Katulad din kanina may Zoom meeting ako, hindi na ako naka-attend kasi
Mhm.
ang bagal ng challenge talaga. Teacher
Net.
Arlyne, are you here in Manila or are you in Quezon?
Nandito po sa Manila.
Okay.
Pero ano ma'am, once a week ang reporting namin sa PNU. Kaya yun.
Physically, face to face?
Yes po. Pero wala naman pong estudyante. Hindi kami nagpapapasok. Kaya lang, nagre-report
Kayo-kayo
lang
lang.
kami just
Among
in case.
yourselves lang. Kasi kami
Opo.
totally, wala eh. Kasi meron kami dong COVID
Wala.
center. Meron kaming COVID center.
Yes ma'am.
So yung mga naghihintay na
Oo.
kanilang result ng kanilang swab test.
Di ba sa ano yun ma'am? Palma Hall?
Dati sa Palma Hall, kaso inalis nila doon gawa ng madaming nahahawa eh. Tumaas ang cases doon. So parang, tapos ang ginawa nila nasa Molave Hall na yung isang residential hall namin sa Molave.
Okay.
So ginawa, siya na
Molave.
yung ngayong COVID center. So talagang hindi
Very
na.
open kasi ang Palma
Oo.
Hall eh. So,
Yun, so marami. Pati
maano yung
ang nahawa
kalat ng
yata doon,
virus.
mga guards, mga staff, mga naglilinis. So yun, so inalis nila doon. So talagang napaka-risky pa, di ba? So, hindi kami
Pero
pwedeng
sa news
pumasok doon.
kanina, I don't know if it is fake news. Pero by January 2021, DepEd is proposing to have a face-to-face. But I don't know that
Narinig ko din yan, sinabi
is
ni
possible.
Secretary Briones. So, sabi ko, oops, okay.
Let's
Yun
wait
lang.
and see.
Wait and see talaga. Of course, we don't want to risk our children, di ba? Mga bata pa naman, pag yan hindi mo yung mapipigilan, di ba? Lalo na pag nagkita-kita yung mga yan, nagka-miss ang isa't isa eh. So, they miss conversation. So, how many are you?
Okay, any question po?
I hope I was able to
10
share
sila. Actually, 12 po ang aking student.
sa
So,
page.
sino po ang may question?
Oo.
Good
Si
evening po.
Annabelle. Oh, yes, I can see
Good evening,
Annabelle.
Professor Kwe. Thank you
Oo.
for the talk. Ngayon po, because of that learning, remote learning na ginagawa natin with all the problems, with all the challenges that we
Yes.
are facing.
Yes.
So marami pong mga parents na nababasa natin sa Facebook or may mga sa social media that they are saying na bakit hindi na lang sana, kasi kung titingnan po natin, mahirap po talaga yung remote learning na ginagawa natin.
Yes, oo.
So, hindi natin, iba talaga yung face-to-face.
Mhm.
So, there are some who are saying na bakit hindi na lang tinigil ng DepEd. Kasi kung mayroong evaluation, kahit walang evaluation, parang alam na natin yung result, no? Kahit hindi tayo mag-conduct ng evaluation, na talagang hindi natin alam kung may natutunan ba talaga yung mga bata. So, what do you think, Professor Kwe, ang inyong idea about tama ba yung mga suggestion ng mga parents na instead of doing this, na medyo talagang sobrang hirap sa part ng teachers, sa part ng estudyante, sa part ng mga parents, do you agree po na ano po yung idea nyo na dapat ba tinigil na lang muna ng DepEd yung taon na to, or talagang we really have to go through this process na talagang sobrang, kasi nakita ko po dun sa mga strategies na binigay nyo, no, yung number one po talaga yung health and safety ng teachers and students, which is very kumbaga kahit tayong mga teachers ramdam natin na sobrang hirap po talaga. Kahit po yung sa everyday na ginagawa natin, kami po yung sabi nyo na hindi katulad ng remote learning, yung face-to-face na you have to sit down for how many hours. But we are doing that. So ngayon, parang apektuhan na yung health natin, like yung hindi ka na nakakatayo, alam mo yun, iba yung nasa school ka, na nakakapag-communicate ka, nakikipag-socialize ka sa ibang teachers, sa mga estudyante. And here, ibang-iba yung sitwasyon. You are just sitting down, kahit alam mo yun, kakain ka na, talagang marami pong, tumataba ngayon, kahit yung mga estudyante namin, yung mga staff, talaga ang laki na ng tiyan. Kasi doon na naghahabol na, kumakain na doon sa harapan ng computer. So, what is your idea, ma'am, na tama ba yung mga suggestion ng mga parents na sana pinagbigyan na lang ng DepEd na tinigil muna yung taon na to? Kasi ang kapalit nito, kapalit nito ay hindi natin alam eh. Walang kasiguraduhan kung natututo yung mga bata, walang kasiguraduhan kung ano ba, kung tama ba itong ginagawa natin kasi sa trial and error tayo. And most especially, yung health po talaga ng mga bata, medyo apektado. So what is your idea about this? Tama ba sila, yung mga parents, or ano po? Ano po yung personal po ninyong opinion?
Sige, yung personal opinion. Sandali lang ha,
Yes po.
mag-check. Nauubos na yung baterya ko. Ang computer
Sige
ko
po.
talaga. Sige, hindi, kakabit ko lang siya.
Thank you po.
Okay, oo. So yan, thank you, Annabelle. So I hope, ako, siyempre I'm not, kasi di ba, ang mga estudyante natin, particularly sa UP, gusto nila yung tinatawag nila academic freeze. Talagang ayaw nila kasi na-experience nila eh. Kasi nga, ang daming, naandun sila sa mga bahay nila, tapos sila yung na-experience nila lahat ng mga challenges. Ako, personally, kasi sabi mo personally, dapat, kasi ang ang sabi nila, ang una talaga nating dito is learning has to continue even if it's done remotely, di ba? Kahit siya, learning has to continue. Pero if we really want learning to continue, dapat nga meron tayong, hindi, sa akin lang, personal ko, kasi wala pang tama or hindi pa natin masasabing mali itong strategy na to kasi nga nagtatrial and error. Pero ako personally, parang in a way, siguro nga, personal ko lang to kasi ang UP, pinopropose talaga nila yung, yung learning has to continue. Kahit ang College of Education namin, learning has to continue even though it's done remotely. Pero sa akin, given all the challenges na na-experience nila, parang siguro, sa akin ilang buwan ba before we started the classes? Dapat nung June di ba? Pero June, July, August, September, October. After 4 months in-implement, di ba, in-open ang classes. So yun, so siguro we should have given ourselves time, no, to really craft perfectly kung paano natin kasi ang parents natin ang talagang I think they're suffering much now.
Sorry mama. In addition po doon mama, I'm sorry to interrupt. Kasi parang yung sa setup po ng pag sa college, parang ang dali. Pag sa mga HEIS, di ba po? Parang ang talagang apektado at talagang kawawa, lalo na po yung mga elementary, tapos
basic ed.
basic ed. Yeah, yun po.
Yun. Siguro
kasi
for
since
basic,
hindi handa. Hindi handa.
Yan, totoo. Actually, ako personally, siguro nga, kasi yung mga kasama ko, sabi, hindi, no to academic. Pero sa akin, parang hindi yata pahingahin muna natin ang mga, di ba, pahingahin muna natin sila lahat. Di ba, kasi lahat tayo, we're dealing with the COVID health crisis. Tapos ito, bigla mong pinasukan. Ako personally, siguro parang, dapat hindi muna natin nag-implement. Parang nag-set muna tayo. Kasi meron naman tayong mga experts on curriculum. Tapos meron namang katulad namin na mga instructional designer. Siguro work hand in hand muna. Di ba? Pinag-aralan muna. Kasi parang, alam mo yun, yung parang tinapong ka sa ilog na hindi ka marunong lumoy. Tapos kanya-kanya tayo ng ng langoy para ma-survive. So parang ganun siya. So siguro parang sa akin, kasi ang mga teachers, particularly sa DepEd, nung magi-start na yung klase na October, doon pa lang sila tinetrain na maging teacher broadcasters or magsulat ng radio-based instruction, di ba? Ako, alam nyo, graduate ako ng community broadcasting sa Los Baños, and it took me like 4 years, to develop my competency to develop radio-based instruction or radio documentaries kasi doon, pag DevCom ka, ang mga target clients namin, no, farmers, fishermen. Pero 4 na taon ko pinag-aralan. Tapos ang mga teachers natin, no, ilang buwan lang magsusulat ng, tapos magiging mga TV broadcaster na sila, di ba? Mga teacher broadcaster. Kaya nga, na, ang daming mga ano sa kanila eh. Kasi nataranta rin ang DepEd. Nakita namin yung sa loob ng DepEd. Ako, hindi ko alam kung sino yung mga taga-DepEd dito. Pero naging part kami nung nakita namin yung sila, pardon me with the word, nataranta din talaga sila. Kasi, hindi nila alam. So, yung with all those, palagi ko na-experience yun ng DepEd. Siguro, in a way, parang naisip mo, dapat nga yata, we should have given time for our schools and our teachers to prepare themselves or equip themselves. Yun. So, yun siya. So, kasi nakikita na natin ang resulta eh. Di ba?
Yeah. Thank you po, Prof.
Yes,
At
yes.
your answer.
Thank you.
Kalmado kami na to be more understanding sa lahat ng
Yes.
stakeholders,
Yes, right,
sa
right.
students and parents. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Annabelle.
Thank you
I think
po.
Victoria is preparing to, thank you, Victoria.
Yes, ma'am. Good
Oo.
afternoon,
Oo.
Ma'am Leny. Yes, just like to ask po, kasi since nabanggit po kanina yung right time, when is the proper right time to evaluate, especially remote learning nowadays?
Oo.
Kasi, di ba po, very early. So, ako, pinag-iisipan ko, time na po ba na i-evaluate natin yung ating remote learning since nasa 1 month pa lang tayo, or kung sabihin
October
natin
pala kayo kasi nag-start.
yes, kung matapos man, kahit sa September. So,
Oo.
kapag ganito ka, ma'am, ano po ba dapat ang ating i-set na standard? May standard po ba yun? Kung kailan dapat or kailangan talagang ma-run at least? Kasi yun nga po ang predicament ko, is very important patriotic, no? May parang marching order na siya on January, although ang president pa rin ang decide at that. Pero yun nga po the idea of evaluating it, if you've given us an example kung paano na pwedeng i-evaluate. Siguro po, medyo yun po ang question sa akin. Proper time ba to evaluate, o saan ba ang dapat i-evaluate sa lawak nitong pinag-uusapan sa curriculum? Is it on the instruction? Is it on the curriculum per se, yung K-12 program? Or doon po medyo saan po focus? Kasi nga po, di ba, may macro and may micro level evaluation of curriculum. So, saan po, ma'am, ang nakikita natin at kailan po yung tamang paraan? Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you din, Marvic. Ako sa akin kasi nga, hindi ba parang lahat din tayo, kahit ang mga curriculary siguro, ngayon lang din nila, iniisip ulit nila, teka muna, sanay tayo nung klase nasa classroom, tapos biglang ngayon, remote learning na siya. I am for...
Anong model?
Ako, I am for format.
Anong curriculum model to?
Anong model ang gagamitin mo, di ba? Sa akin kasi, naisip ko, di balik, kasi favorite ko nga, sabi ko nga, na-mention ko kanina, favorite ko si Tyler. Tingnan nyo ulit, are you achieving your objectives? At this point in time, na-achieve mo na ba yung objectives? So, kasi di ba, meron ka naman mga set of objectives. Hindi pa tapos ang SEM. Pero sa palagay mo ba, sa akin, Victoria, ang naisip ko, dapat, kasi kami ngayon, parang midterm na kami. Gusto ko sana i-propose sa kanila na, ngayon, mag-evaluate na tayo. Are we doing it right? Kasi with all the experiences, yung mga naranasan na natin. Kasi kami naka 3 months sa September, October, parang midterm na nga parang naka 3 months na. Kasi, kaya ako nag-advocate for evaluation now is marami nang nagda-drop. Marami nang nagli-leave of absence na student. And we really have to do something about it. So, balikan natin. Diba? Ito pa rin, of course, hindi naman natin mababago yung competencies na gusto natin i-develop sa kanila. Yung pa rin ang pinaka baseline, yung competencies na gusto natin i-develop. Pero, ang titingnan natin ngayon, yung mode of delivery. Paano natin siya ngayon, yung content, paano natin ma-deliver sa ating mga students. So, ang evaluation na pwede mong gawin, of course, we're doing synchronous and asynchronous. Kasi palagi ko yun lang naman ngayon yung approaches na natin gawin na pwede nating gawin ngayon, 'di ba? Synchronous and asynchronous. So which one is more effective? The synchronous ba or the asynchronous? May mga students kami, sabi nila parang mas stressful daw para sa kanila yung asynchronous kasi parang mas madami silang ginagawa. Yung mga students natin, I mean yung mga basic ed students natin, nag-aano sila, nagmo-modular sila. Eh ilan yung klase nila? 8, tapos 8 modules, 'di ba? After isang module ng science, module naman ng math, module ng I think ano yung mas stressful sa kanila. So, are we doing it the right way? So, given dun sa mga initial implementation natin, at ito yung i-align natin, ito yung objectives namin. Pero this is how we're doing it in a remote learning. So, evaluate mo siya ngayon. Are we doing it right? And even the competencies, i-assess natin yung assessment of learning. Di ba pag nagbibigay tayo
The
ng
right way.
ng mga exams or ng mga tests. Ako nga, ayoko ng, parang sa akin na, personal ko yun, ayoko magbigay ng summative na exam. I'd rather, i-assess ko students ko nung quarter, and you know, every week or there are many creative ways naman of assessing your students, not necessarily the pen and paper. Hindi ko alam kung paano yung online na exam or online quiz kasi na-stress din ng mga students. So, titingnan natin ngayon. So, ito pa rin yung competencies ko, pero yung mode of delivery ko, paano ko siya dinideliver? Effective ba ang aking strategies? Effective ba yung aking activities? Effective ba yung aking yung assessment strategies or pag-assess ko sa kanila? So, tinatanong ni Victoria, when is the right time? I think now is the right time. Siguro, October kasi kayo nag-start. Wait for like 3-4 months. Kung wala mang initiative from your school or from your institution, do it by yourself. So anyway, ano naman kayo, you're into a curriculum evaluation and all the things, all your learnings from this course, i-implement nyo na after ng 3 months kasi di ba, 3 months of implementation ng curriculum. Sa akin yun, the earlier that you evaluate, the better. Especially
Yes,
if,
ma'am.
yeah, di ba?
Yes po,
Oo.
kasi ma'am, I'm a faculty of PNU po, undergraduate in PNU po.
Okay,
Kasi
okay. Oo, yes, oo.
po kami. So
Oo.
that's why, mahirap po minsan sometimes. So, kaya yun po ang minsan tinitignan ko. Yung level na lang siguro kung saan nag-evaluation.
Yes,
Kung
oo.
masyado pong malaki,
Mm.
medyo merong accreditation ang mga school na sinusundan at yung mga accreditation, mga group naman yan, hindi pa rin sila nag-change po ng kanilang ginagamit na accreditation tool.
Oo.
So, hindi
Oo.
pa rin po naka-align dito sa remote
Yes.
learning. So, ang hirap
Yes,
po
right.
talagang baguhin yon.
Oo.
Although, ma'am, sa PNU, hindi naman kami masyadong restricted when it comes to assessment because we are outcomes-based po.
Yes,
So,
right.
talagang we do not do as mga summative test na talagang paper and pencil. Talagang, example, kahapon nga lang po, meron kaming reading training on how we do our outcome-based assessment. So, dun po makikita na namin. So, yun po ang nakita ko kanina when although tama po yung sabi kanina ni Ma'am Annabel, hindi na natin kailangan minsan i-evaluate kasi we are, actually, ang term nga po nga namin ginagamit sa faculty namin is ang tawag namin ay, ewan ko po kung familiar kayo dito, guerrilla approach po ang ginagawa ngayon ng
Guerrilla.
faculty.
Ano
Yes.
yun? Okay yun, ha?
What do we mean by guerrilla approach? Mga soksay po.
Mga guerrilla.
Yes po, kasi you have to you have to adjust, you have to make tactics so that you'll be able to students
Yes.
need.
Oo.
So,
Yes,
yun ang puro yung magandang reflection na nakikita ko dito na talagang minsan kahit gusto natin i-evaluate all throughout yung ating curriculum,
Yes, right.
yung may problem kasi tayo doon sa sistema, may mga pinasok tayong accreditation, maraming sinusundan. So, yun po siguro yung reflection ko na nakita ngayon when it comes to evaluation. Parang hindi po siya taga sa bato na kailangan agad-agad. Kasi may mga pagkakataon talaga na kailangan mong hintayin or kailangan mo nang kumilos kahit di ka pa naka-evaluate.
Yes, oo, tama yun.
Thank you,
Parang
ma'am.
thank you rin. Naisip ko lang, di ba, para din tayong, alam niyo yung mga, what's this, karpintero? Di ba? Ang karpintero, kahit hindi naman katulad natin, siguro may formal education sila, so meron equip lang sila. Pero pag pumasok sila sa isang bahay, meron silang nakitang sira or anything, di ba? Hindi na nila kailangan hindi na nila kailangan tumingin sa mga manual or anything. Instinct na nila yon, di ba? Na alam na nila ano yung dapat nilang i-repair. So parang sinasabi dito na yung tama yung sinabi niya na parang guerrilla, kailangan maging may strategies, yung mga tactics, di ba? Kung anong dapat nating gawin. No? Depende sa kung ano yung pangangailangan at na necessarily to wait for the end of the semester. Kung ano na yung kailangan fix at this time, i-fix na natin. Di ba parang ganun yung kailangan natin?
Yeah, ma'am, yes po.
Yes,
Parang
yes.
ano lang, ma'am, sorry pa.
Yes.
Kasi ma'am, 'di ba favorite niyo po si Tyler. So
Oh,
ngayon ma'am magbabago. Parang mag-start tayo sa baba. Taba taba approach where na
tama. Yan,
manggagaling na siya
tama.
sa
Oo.
teacher. Kasi si teacher na po ang
Correct.
kumikilos to change because he's inside the
Exactly.
classroom.
Yes,
So
right.
so hindi po manggagaling sa taas ngayon yung changes,
Yes.
manggagaling sa
Sa
teacher.
guro mismo. Sa
Yes
guro
po.
na
Talagang
manggagaling.
magbabago po talaga ang mga
Oo.
models, no? Kung ano
Correct.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Oo,
you so
sige.
much for the
Oo. Thank you rin. Thank you rin sa insights.
Oo.
Nagkakaroon din ako ng mga panibagong
Ah,
tama, guro nga.
oo. Ito rin kasi ang Ma'am Ke. Oo. Ma'am Ke and para sa mga students. Kasi ang K to 12 curriculum was designed and conceptualized uh, before COVID. Okay? And
Yes.
then nagkaroon ng COVID, what they made ay they just yung sinasabi nating MELCs, yung sinasabi nating ELTs, yung mga
Oh,
essential learning competencies.
yes.
Actually, the curriculum that we have now, hindi talaga siya pang COVID. Okay?
Yes, right.
Actually, nag-reduce lang sila. So
Mhm.
that means if we will conduct curriculum evaluation this time of pandemic, are we yun nga sabi ni Ma'am Ke, are we targeting the objective? In the first place, ang objective na nag-set natin, ito yung ating curriculum, okay?
Oh,
So this is the curriculum designed before the pandemic and we just reduce it, parang trim down lang. Ano ba yung most essential, ano ba yung
yes.
essential? Unfortunately, this most essential and essential ay still pattern doon sa curriculum na dinesign before the COVID. So that means walang changes or walang innovation or walang modification na nangyari, but ang nangyari is they just lessen. So that means, ang ibig bang sabihin na pag nilesen mo ang mga target mo based on the original suggested or design curriculum, yun na ba yung ibig sabihin na you are adapting to the new normal or this pandemic? Basically, ang issue ng pandemic ay health issue.
Yes.
So, and then ang issue ng pandemic ay yung issue ng you cannot go to school. So basically, yun eh. Baka kasi magkaroon ng mismatch. Magku-curriculum evaluation tayo, pero yung curriculum na yun ay designed before the COVID and
Correct.
nilesen lang. So
Yes.
baka mamaya, yung curriculum evaluation na gagawin natin in a micro or macro level man ay hindi tutugma. Kaya yun. That's why I invited Professor Ke tonight.
Yes.
Kasi basically, sabi ko kay ma'am, paki-explain po ng remote learning and its implication to curriculum evaluation. Kaya yun yung magiging natin. Baka mamaya kasi lahat ito ma'am, kasi ma'am Ke, sabi ko sa kanila, pwede silang gumawa ng policy brief or ng research dito sa term namin na to. Ngayon, yun sa policy brief, maraming policy si DepEd na synchronous, asynchronous, blended. This is the curriculum. And yun, sa curriculum evaluation, ang daming mati-discuss. Are we measuring the right target or the right objective na sinasabi kanina ni Ma'am Ke? Baka mamaya kasi, iba yung objective natin, mineasure natin yung base sa objective, pero the thing is, yung methodology natin, hindi umaayon.
Yes.
Kasi iba yung context.
Yes.
Take note, napakahalaga ng context pagdating sa methodology. If you're doing research, especially educational research under social science, you must understand and highlight in your methodology the context of your research or yung research lokal mo, research participant or whatsoever. Napakahalaga ng context. So basically, are we in the right position to evaluate the curriculum based on the ELKs or the MELKs that patterned before or the
yes.
curriculum designed before the pandemic? Kasi yun yung wino-worry ko eh. Kaya in-invite ko si Ma'am Kid dito sa sa talk natin na ngayong gabi. So basically, sa lumalabas sa talk ni Ma'am Ke, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay synchronous and asynchronous. So basically, it's more of the delivery.
Delivery.
So
yes.
basically, baka makita natin po pwede na magset tayo ng objective ng curriculum evaluation in terms of delivery. Pero the entire curriculum, how it is designed, how it is adjusted, parang ang hirap. Kasi nga, ang sabi ko sa inyo, napakalawak ng curriculum evaluation. What aspect of curriculum, whether it's micro or macro, mahirap pa rin siya. Kasi titingnan muna natin kung ano talaga, anong gusto nating i-evaluate. At pag nag-evaluate tayo ng aspect or portion down sa curriculum, alin lang, like for example, delivery mode, itong synchronous and asynchronous. So basically, dito lang tayo kasi dapat clear and very narrow yung ating context. Baka kasi magkamali tayo, we are measuring the wrong or evaluating the wrong thing when it comes to curriculum evaluation. Hindi ko alam kung mag-agree kayo sa akin or what, pero yun yung iniisip ko. Mm-mm. So, any thoughts sa inyo? Sa inyong experience now you are teaching undergrad, basic ed, and yung iba siguro ko ay nasa grad school na rin. Ano po kaya? Tama po bang i-evaluate natin ang curriculum when it comes to CG, yung curriculum guide, at nilesen ang mga competencies? And then, tama po bang i-evaluate natin ang mga performance ng mga estudyante base sa CG? Or ang pwede lang natin i-evaluate ay ang synchronous or the delivery mode sa mga estudyante? Yun po kasi baka mamaya may magsulat ng research na in-evaluate na itong pero kasi hindi ko alam kung appropriate ba na talagang i-evaluate natin itong si curriculum, itong si K-12 curriculum base sa MELS or ELS na ginawa ni DepEd. Ano po kaya? Sa inyong palagay? Hanggang saan ang kaya niyong i-evaluate in a micro level if you are doing a mini research? Or any policy na po pwede niyong pagtuunan when it comes to, like for example, the use of ICT, remote or blended learning, this time of pandemic. Imagine niyo sinusunod natin ang CG ng K-12 curriculum na dinesign and dinevelop before the pandemic. We are using it now, we are utilizing it now. Unfortunately, hindi siya dinesign sa ganitong scenario at sa ganitong context. Paano po
Yes,
kaya
ma'am.
yun?
Meron lang po akong
Are we in the right position?
permission to speak po, Marlene.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes
ma'am.
po.
Yes po.
So so nakikita ko kasi ang husband ko po ay DepEd teacher. Medyo ang hirap din po ng ang hirap po ng context ng mga nasa DepEd. Like for example, ang husband ko senior high school, kapag specialize yung track niya, sports track yun. So, iba rin yung kanilang way on how to evaluate naman yun kasi may practicum ang bata dyan, hindi nila magawa ngayon. So, yun po, parang ngayon ko nakita yung hirap ng magiging trabaho talaga ng isang curricularist. Talagang totoo na napakalawak ng evaluation at ang dami ng pwedeng puntahanin. Hindi mo talaga maapuhap ano ang tama, kailan ang tamang panahon, kung paano, kasi may kanya-kanya pong konteksto nga, naka-context din. Like for example, dito po sa Manila, ito ang paraan natin ng mode of delivery. When you go to Luzon, sa northern part, iba rin ang kanila. When you go to Mindanao, iba rin. So may iba-iba po talaga. So ang hirap mag-evaluate. Kaya siguro ma'am, diyan ko nakita na medyo hirap ang DepEd. Kahit napakaraming tao, pinapasama ng DepEd para i-evaluate. Katulad natin sa university, mapipili. Isang sistema, isang paraan. Natin nag-public summit na, inayos natin, madaling i-apply. Pero sa DepEd ko talaga. Kaya talagang nakakaawa rin. Kaya medyo nakakatakot po yung pag-decide agad na abrupt yung pag-decide ni Secretary Quiones na hindi mo na nakita
education. Lalo na ang mahalaga yung
Oo.
health ng mga stakeholders ng DepEd. So,
Yes.
yun lang po, ma'am.
Oo. Actually, yeah, thank you, Ma'am, Ma'am Vic. Ma'am Vicky. Actually, nakikinig ako kanina sa Senate hearing ni Gatchalian. Basically, parang nakipagtalo si Dr. Permin doon sa isang, nag-i-interrupt si Dr. Permin. Kaya lang medyo very straightforward si Senator Gatchalian eh. So, para bang ang discussion ni Dr. Permin is utopic ang dating ng education na it's really very good and we can do it. Kaya lang, ito bumangga si Senator Gatchalian sa kanyang idea that we acknowledge that there is a problem and that problem must be solved. So yun yung sinasabi niya kanina. Kaya lang kasi, ang context kasi ni Dr. Fermin, if I may share, si Dr. Fermin ay galing Miriam. And then ngayon siya ata ang BPAA ng NTC. NTC now is owned by the Ayala Group. So most probably, ang context ni Dr. Permin ay iba sa context ni Dr. Gatchalian, ni Senator Gatchalian. Because Senator Gatchalian, marami siya may mga advisor siya and consultant coming from different sectors. Like for example, in a rural, in an urban area. And nakikita niya kasi yun lawak. Unfortunately, Dr. Fermin just discussed a portion of that, which is yung Education 4.0, yung use of technology. Well, unquestionable naman, hindi naman talaga maikakaila na kaya ng Ayala Group of Company to sustain and to fund the needs of the school na talagang mayroon silang gadget. Tama doon tama. Kaya very utopic ang dating ng statement ni Dr. Fermin. And then, ito na nga, here comes Senator Gatchalian. Ang nakikita kasi ni Senator Gatchalian, base sa kanyang siguro mga consultant and mga advisors, ang tiningnan kasi ni Senator Gatchalian is from Luzon to Mindanao. Okay? So, nagkakaiba yung findings nila base sa konteksto nila at saka kung saan sila nanggagaling. So, like, dito rin sa evaluation ng curriculum, so basically, siguro ko, yung mga nasa rural or nasa urban, they have their own way of looking at it when it comes to curriculum evaluation, kung magtatama ba or magtutugma, natatarget ba yung objective or hindi. Okay ba yung delivery or hindi, kung whether it's synchronous or asynchronous or modular. So, yun yung nagiging debate. That's the reason why it's really difficult for DepEd people and even for education stakeholders. When I say education stakeholders, from senators, yung mga senatorial or mga policymakers level, down to classroom teacher and even the parents and the student. Kaya yun. So, yun yung napakahalaga nating titingnan ngayon. Hindi tayo agad-agad dapat mag-evaluate ng curriculum in a micro or macro level. We must define the context. Saan ba natin nahanapin at saan ba natin ipoposition yung ating curriculum evaluation in a macro or in a micro level. So basically, a good example is this talk of Professor Leny na when it comes to delivery, then let's see how can we evaluate the synchronous, asynchronous, blended, or the modular. So yung mga tipong ganun, yung pinoint out kanina ni Professor Leny na yung may mga targets na dapat i-consider in evaluating the curriculum. Okay po. Other students, any thoughts, reflections, and comments? Yes, Sir Jess, Sir Mark.
Here you go. Good afternoon po, good evening. Ma'am Leny, ask ko lang po, nasa tertiary education po ako sa Quezon Province. Gusto ko lang po makita kung sa UP, how do you apply remote learning sa field study at teaching internship? Thank you po.
Ma'am, naka-off po yung mic niyo.
Sorry, ang dami ko nang nasabi. Naka-off pala. Ang ginawa kasi ngayon sa UP, ang in-implement nila, lahat ng laboratory, lahat ng student teaching or lahat ng hindi muna nila ipinaturo, hindi muna nila in-offer. Lahat na may laboratory, lahat na merong, mga field work, lahat ng merong kasi nga, in anticipation pa rin of what will happen in the next semester. So lahat ngayon puro mga theoretical lang yung in-offer na mga courses kasi nga hindi pwedeng lumabas, hindi pwedeng ano. Pero meron ako narinig na isang siguro na-attend ako sa isang webinar ta's tinatanong nga nila yung teaching ano ngang tawag dun, internship ba yun? Student teaching kasi tawag sa amin dun, eh, oo. Ang ginawa kasi nila is,
Opo, practicum. Oh, practicum, ma'am.
practicum, oo, ayan. Ang practicum nila kasi siyempre hindi naman puwedeng magturo ang mga teachers dun, di katulad nung dati, 'di ba kailangan nilang meron silang pumunta sila dun sa school, gawa sila ng lesson, magturo sila ng lesson. So, ang paano ba sa UP kasi
I-implement
wala
nila yung
kaming
lesson
hindi
nila.
namin oo, yun gano'n. So, ang mahirap talaga mahirap gawin yun. So, ano ba yung suggestion, I forgot na kung ano pa ang sabi nila, parang meron ding, I think parang ang ginawa nila kasi for sure kailangan merong demo teaching, 'di ba? Yun ang pinaka-objective nung ano nun, eh, 'di ba, nung practicum para makita kung ano how well this teacher is, I mean student teacher is, in applying all the things, all the learnings na natutunan nila from the coursework na binigay sa kanya. So in the meantime, ang binigay yata sa kanya more on instructional materials development. Nag-develop muna siya ng mga instructional materials. Yun yung binigay sa kanya yun, I remember now. In the meantime, ang practicum na binigay sa kanya is mag-develop ka ng mga instructional materials on a particular set of
Module.
oo, parang module. So, pwedeng mga digital resources, mga video, mga PowerPoint presentations na annotated, yung mga gano'n siya. In the meantime, kasi hindi pwede yung face to face, eh. So, more on materials development ang naging involved niya. Naging practicum niya, materials development. Oo.
Thank
So,
you,
yun,
ma'am.
Mark.
Kasi actually
Yeah.
po, the same po yung ginawa ng university namin. Lahat po ng field study na dapat i-offer at teaching internship ay hinote for this semester.
Yes, right. Oo.
Ako po kasi nag-handle ng mga subjects na yan.
Oo.
Ang fear lang po namin sa department, what if nasa terminal year na po yung bata?
Oo.
Then
Oo.
next semester, hindi natin maiwasan, let's say, for example, sana hindi naman, dire-diretso pa rin si COVID.
Oo.
May plano po ba ang UP sa ganyang mga sitwasyon?
Actually, pinag-uusapan pa rin nila ngayon nga, eh. Parang ano nga, eh, I think they're getting data. Kaya importante yung data, eh. Yung data ba nitong naunang
Research talaga.
oo.
Kailangan evidence-based,
Oo,
research-based.
oo. So, kailangan mo na yung mga naranasan, lahat ng mga experiences nila, lahat ng naranasan, kunin mo yung data and then para 'pag nag-design ka
Narrative.
ulit pag nag-design ka ulit ng course mo sa susunod na semester, nakabase na siya dun sa mga data na nakuha mo sa first semester. And I really do agree with you, Jess, kasi sa films kayo, 'di ba? Paano yung naisip ko nga yung mga doctors, 'di ba, yung mga medical doctors natin, 'di ba? I just can't imagine paano nila i-de-develop yung skills nga. Hindi na natin ilayo yung katulad nga sa mga Pag-asa weather forecaster, 'di ba? O saan sila ngayon 'di ba? Virtual ba yung gagawin nila? So, in the meantime, alam ko ang ginawa ngayon ng mga colleges and universities, wala munang lab, wala munang mga fieldwork, wala munang mga activities na that will involve a face-to-face interaction. Kaya nga. So, I think, Jess, kasi kayo yung mga nasa field, eh, perhaps you can think of, yun nga, given all the things that you have experienced in implementing this, perhaps you can can design your own. Kasi kung film yan ang naiisip, kasi wala pa rin ang UP actually. Though of course meron na silang mga nasa mind, kino-conceptualize na nila. Pero kukuha pa rin sila ng data based on the experience na meron sila during the first semester. Kasi nga trial and error lahat tayo. So, what worked, what didn't work. So yun siya. So yun pa rin yung basehan nila.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Yes, thank
Siguro
you.
isa rin po talaga yun sa basis para dun sa argument ni Ma'am Annabel kanina. Kasi nga, kung makakagraduate ang bata pero hilaw sila,
Yes, right.
anong mangyayari sa future
Yes.
ng ating mga estudyante? Pero
Dami.
salamat po nga.
Ang dami isipin, Kaya nga, eh. Ang dami nating kailangan na gawin. So we can start, siguro in our own small way. we can start gathering data, di ba?
Mm-mm.
Mag-gather na tayo ng mga ebidensya ng mga naranasan natin. And then from there, we can
Ma'am
design.
Leny, may question ako.
Yes. Yes, Arlyne.
Ma'am
Yes, Ma'am
Leny, yung
Arlyne.
halimbawa, Ma'am Leny, yung ginagawa niyong training doon sa like for example, yun sa broadcasting.
Yes. Okay, ang tinrain kasi namin, yung sa
Ma'am,
teacher
yung
broad.
mga sa broadcasting, hindi ba po pwedeng ganun? Kasi ito kasing isang klase ko, yung pang Biyernes, tomorrow night, I asked them to develop a module. Okay,
Oo.
in-service training kasi MA sila eh. So most
Oo.
probably magiging mga master teacher itong mga
Yes.
to.
Oo. Yes. Okay, teka. Ang tinatanong mo, kasi siguro i-share ko na lang yung experiences
Pwede
namin.
po bang ganun ang maging practicum nila sa teacher broadcasting muna? Kung wala pang face-to-face?
Yun. Yes, right. They can develop, actually, do sa broadcast-based instruction. Pwede ka mag-focus doon, broadcast-based instruction. Kasi pag nagagawa ka ng broadcast-based instruction, para ka rin nagagawa doon ng lesson eh. Nag-i-implement ka rin ng lesson. Pero, using kasi pag nag-develop ka kasi ng video, meron dong mga theories and principles ka pa rin na have you heard about the primacy recency effect? Yung ibig sabihin nun, yun yung basta nag-training ako on video production, lagi kong ine-explain sa kanila yung primacy recency effect. Sabi doon, pag yung una daw narinig, the information that comes to them first, mataas ang retention, concept retention. Tapos yung nasa huli, nasasabihin ng mga teachers, second best siya. Ibig sabihin nun, kumbaga yung dun sa peak, mataas ang peak dun sa halimbawa kung 20 minutes yung lecture mo or video mo, for example. First 11 minutes, mataas ang retention dyan. Pwede mo lahat ng mga essential concepts na ituro mo. Tapos pagdating dun sa 12 to 13th na minute, bumababa na yan, yung tinatawag nilang downtime. Nawawala na sila sa'yo, hindi na sila engaged. Yung attention nila nagdi-disappear na, nagdi-dwindle na. So anong gagawin mo doon? Tapos kasi yung tapos magpipik ulit siya on the last 5 minutes. Magpipik ulit yung attention nila. So ipapasok mo naman doon yung summary na, di ba? So una muna mataas, tapos magde-decline sila sa gitna, tapos tataas ulit sila, pero hindi kasi taas nung first 10 minutes or first 11 minutes. So yun. So yung ang ano ko is pag yung pwede rin nilang pwede yon yung halimbawa pwede nilang gawing practicum yon. Gagawa sila ng video-based instruction. Pero they have to integrate the theories that that is based on working memory and the attention span. Kasi ngayon sa primacy recency effect, pumapasok doon yung attention span. How much attention can these pupils give? Diba? And then, saka yung working memory. Paano nila pinoprocess di ba sa working memory, yung at the current attention na ibinibigay nyo. Halimbawa, kasi kayo ngayon, ang ginagamit nyo, yung working memory nyo, nakikinig kayo sa akin, so pinoprocess ng brain nyo using your working memory. Pero, so pagkatapos nito, so yun yung dapat nating i-optimize, yung paano nila pinoprocess sa information sa working memory. So anong gagawin natin para yung mga lessons, yung mga concepts na dapat na matutunan ng mga bata, dapat within doon sa capability or capacity ng working memory nila. Kasi pag sumobra na yan, alam nyo, kaya minsan ako dun kasi sa UP may mga ganun din na professors eh. For a 3-hour na lalo na pag-stat, 3 hours na lecture. Sabi ng isang estudyante ko, sabi niya sa akin, "Ma'am, magdadrop na po ako." Kasi ko, bakit? Kasi po, mag-start po kami ng 5:30, mahina-hina na po yung 8:25 na puro computation po na. Just can imagine, di ba, mga graduate students yan. So, kasi yung brain natin can only process so much. Pag sumobra na yung capacity ng processing nila, brain processing ng mga students natin, we will lose them. Sayang lang. Magdi-disappear. Parang sponge, na pag sumobra na, yung natutunan nila, magdi-drip na siyang ganyan. kung ano na lang yung kaya i-process ng brain natin, yun lang yung kanilang ano. So, same with
Mm.
the development or the creation of video-based production, video-based instruction. Kailangan lang siya doon yung kayang i-process ng brain natin. Kaya ako, I don't usually advocate for, pag nakakita na ako ng mga, 40 minutes na video or 30
So,
minutes
ma'am,
na video.
mas
So,
maganda pala na 3 to 5 minutes lang.
correct. 3 to 5 minutes lang siya. Alam nyo, ang ano dyan is, di ba marami tayong objectives. So, pwedeng halimbawa may 3 kang objectives. 1 study objective at a time. So, 1 video, 1 study objective. Tapos, alam niyo ba yung konsepto ng Lego? Di ba? Parang iba-iba siya ng mga blocks eh.
Mhm.
Pero pag pinagsama-sama mo sila, makakabuo sila ng mas malaking konsepto. Pero,
So, one objective, one video.
yes, one
Parang
study
ganon.
objective at a time. Ganun lang siya kasi yun lang kaya i-process ng brain natin eh. Ayun, so 3 to 5 minutes, kung lahat ng ano na pwede mong ano doon, so yun. Tapos sabi niya, ma'am, kasi po sa DepEd, meron pa po kaming, I think Ma'am Victoria will agree with me, meron pa daw silang prayer, di ba meron pa, tama ba? Nagdadasal pa, yung mga ganun. So, di isang video din, huwag mo isama lahat sa isang video. One video at a time. Kasi yung mga bata kasi, ano yan sila eh, hindi mo sila makikip na engage. Important yun eh. We don't want to lose them. Ayaw natin silang maiwan. And the best way for us to really keep them is to provide them with materials or provide them with a content that their brain can easily digest. Digestible. We have to present our information into digestible bits. Ibig sabihin nun yung kaya i-digest ng brain natin at one time. So we really have to be aware also or be familiar with how, yung, di ba sa mga developmental age na yan, merong attention span lang sila na pwedeng bigay. So yun, let's work on that, along the working memory and the attention span. Let's work along those concepts. So, yun. Sige. So I hope I was able to answer your question, Teacher Arlyne. Okay?
Okay. Thank you po.
Okay. Okay.
Many questions pa po, comments and suggestions kay ma'am sa sinasabi ni Ma'am Ke. Hindi ko kasi mahanap ma'am yung may na-encounter ako sa sa PNU na Japanese professor na hindi naman brain-based ang kanyang research na gusto niya makipag-tie up. Pero ang gusto niya yung si Mikiyo Kaihara, na friend ko sa Facebook. Ang kanyang research, it's all about memory. Kung paano yung mamamaximize yung how, kung paano yung brain makaka-absorb as much as possible, as heavy, as many as they can ng isang tao dun sa memory. Mayroon siyang mapping eh. So, yun. Siguro ko one of these days, yun yung research niya na before akong pumunta, I think that was 2012 na or 13, nung ma-meet ko siya sa PNU, pumunta siya kasi sa PNU eh. So, yun yung gusto niyang research collaboration. It's more on super memory ang tawag. So, may mga ganung pag-aaral sa Japan na yung super memory ay pwedeng ma-achieve ng isang tao or ng isang estudyante. And may technique na ginagamit. Very scientific yung approach ng kanyang study. Kaya yun. Si Professor Kaihara.
Very interesting.
But anyway, I'll try to keep in touch. Oo, kasi if very uncertain ang ating pandemic. So though DepEd Secretary declared now most probably by 2021 we can have it face to face, but I don't think so. Given the global nagkakaroon na ng second wave sa Italy, ngayon sa England. So yun. So yun yung nangyayari kasi we are entering sa winter though wala naman daw kinalaman ang temperature and season and weather when it comes to the spread of virus.
Yes.
Pero kasi bumababa kasi ang immune system ng tao pag nasa winter season, lalo na yung mga elderly. That is why Europe again, I think nag-spike siya by 43% na ulit.
Oo.
Hindi dahil sa temperature, but hindi, parang indirect na may effect kasi yung season and temperature sa stamina and immune system ng tao, most especially yung mga immunocompromised at saka yung mga aged. Kaya yun. Okay po. Any meron pa po ba kayong tanong or wala na? Clarification? Yeah. Oo, 2013, January, nung na-meet ko siya. Yun. So, let's see kung I will keep in touch again with Dr. Kaihara. Siya yan kasing nasa super memory. Okay, kung wala na po, on behalf of CIN607, thank you, Professor Ke. I hope we can still invite you some other
Yes,
time, kung
oo,
hindi man
yes, please.
dito sa term na ito or sa subject na to.
Ah,
When it comes to use of technology, curriculum studies, and other related topic na expertise po ninyo. Okay? So,
Okay,
thank you po
sure.
and maraming salamat. So,
Salamat din.
yung iba nanlagas na
Bye-bye.
yung mga estudyante.
Thank you po.
Naging
Thank you.
ilan na lang
Bye-bye.
yung
Thank you
tayo.
po.
Thank you po so
Thank you po.
much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Professor Ke.
Thank
Thank you po,
Super
ma'am.
agency, ma'am. Thank you po.
Salamat.
Salamat.
God bless you too. Anong tawag
Ingat
dito?
po.
Very inspiring teachers. Thank you.
Thank you
Ingat
po,
din
ma'am.
kayo lahat. Thank you.
Ingat
Thank you po.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye po.